Will you start us off? Is it me? Okay. Are we live? All right. Hey, everybody. It's Pete Werner here, joined by Craig Williams,
Hey.
our little impromptu. Let's go. I kind of enjoy being able to do this. I'll just text him and like, hey, let's go out live. And oh, apparently Amazon just delivered my bandana face masks because now that's a thing. Um, but I just saw the little notification pop up. But no, I was just saying that I like that, we're just kind of doing these impromptu uh, little things and some updates because um, we've had some news drop today that's kind of telling. Disney has announced that they have canceled the college program that was supposed to start in June. So that tells me one of two things. Number one, because that was supposed to run through fall, I believe, that college program. And these kids were supposed to be arriving next month. And it tells me either A, they're not planning on opening the parks with a full complement of cast members, which would be consistent with what we've been talking about in terms of what our that there would be a slow, a gradual opening of the parks. It wouldn't be a full-on thing that they'd have to kind of, roll into it. Or they're not planning on opening in June at all. But I don't think that would be the case with them selling these rebooking packages for arrival June 1st. Then again, we don't know. They don't know. But I just thought it was interesting that they went ahead and pulled the plug on this college program. And Disney Cruise Line has also pulled the plug on the 9 and 10 night Hawaiian cruises set to go. One was going at the end of this month, April 29th. No big surprise there. The next one was going May 8th on the Hawaiian sailings. But then starting May 18th through June 29th, all of those Alaska sailings on the Wonder have been canceled. And if you have a future cruise credit on that, whether you book with Dreams or not, you can rebook that with Dreams and get our shipboard credit with that. But, so now we know, and these are on the Alaska sailings. Now, I just want to keep in perspective what that means. Canada, the Canadian government has said that they will not allow vessels with more than 500 people to dock at a Canadian port. And if you hear growling, Abby and Dolly are playing tug of war. But the Canadian government has said they're not going to allow vessels with more than 500 people to dock at any of their ports before July 1st. So that's why we're seeing this cancellation, because, of course, the Wonder goes out of Vancouver. And I had speculated they may try to move it to Seattle. But I'm guessing that they either decided not to do that or were not able to do that to save those sailings. But you're talking about 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 Alaska sailings that are now off the table.
Well, it also doesn't help, too, the fact that they had the outbreak of coronavirus on the Wonder, and it's like 30 or 40 people.
Well, it was about 40. The same. I think the number I saw was 36 crew members.
Yeah.
We've also heard that they have now dismissed all of the entertainment cast members from the ships. So they are not planning on sending those ships out anytime soon. And that also may be for their safety, because I believe the entertainment cast members have been staying on board, and I think they need to. That's not. I heard that was across the fleet. That was all 4 ships. Entertainment had been excused. So now they're saying we're coming into the peak of this week and next. I hope that's the case, that it is the peak, and we begin to see some kind of fall off in this. But I don't know. How are you holding up, Craig? I know for you in particular, I mean, you're always out. You're always out and about.
Yeah, I am always out and about, but I am capable of being a complete homebody. I don't need any sort of I don't have to go out constantly in order to keep myself entertained. Like I am I could sit at home and for an entire week straight without leaving the house completely and just, bounce back and forth between movies and books and TV show and video games. And I would be fine with that. So none of this really bothers me. My wife is a different case. She is losing her mind slowly. And I feel bad. I am probably not as patient as I should be, but there's only so much that we can, there's only so much we can do. We take the dogs on at least one long walk a day and kind of leave it at that. But none of this, the only thing that bothers me with this is I only have an endless amount of footage that I can sit here and sit on for so long. And so now I'm like dumpster diving through all of my old hard drives. And just earlier before we started this, I posted about it on Twitter. I found apparently back in the last year of Osborne's spectacle of Dancing Lights, apparently I set up a tripod and just recorded it for like 35 minutes straight and all in 4K. And I just found the video. And so I'm like, oh, well, okay, well that's
Why
something.
not?
And I don't even remember doing it, but
I think just put up all 35 minutes unedited. Just put it up.
Oh, that's what I asked people if I should, and the resounding answer was a yes. I posed it as, do you want me to wait till Christmas or do it now? And
oh God, no, do it now.
Yeah. Oh no. So I said after we do this, I'll get to work on it. I've got to clean it up a little bit because I shot it back when we had our 4K camcorders. So it's a lot better than it could be, but not
as good as the Sonys.
Not as good as the Sonys, but still pretty good. I can do a little bit of post work on it. It'll be nice, and then it's going to be a bear to upload at 35 minutes of 4K. But it's actually really awesome, and I shot it going into it was the final hour of the night or something, so the video actually ends with the lights all go off at once and it's just dark inside the streets of America. It was,
oh wow,
it's really cool. So I'm very excited. But yeah, I'm just finding random crap like that I completely forgot, and I'm like, why didn't I post this 5 years ago?
It's funny because before we were quarantined or anything like that, I had, hey guys, shut up. It's getting ugly over there. But before we were quarantined, I said to Rhino, hey, listen, a good project, since you got, we may end up being at home. I have all these old digital, these DV tapes from 2000. We had done this thing called Around the World in 30 Days. Where we stayed at every hotel on Disney property at least one night, and then did a 7-night cruise on the Magic, which was new at that point. They had just gone to 7-night cruises, and we did this with Disney. So we were working with their PR people. They were taking us around, and we were shooting this video. Some of the video we shot in advance. A lot of it we were shooting in real time, editing, and then uploading from our computers. We had our desktop computers. We had one room at, it was the Disney Institute at that point, now Saratoga Springs. That was our base for the 30 days, right? Mm-hmm. And so we brought desktop computers in there. We were plugging into phone lines to get internet because there was no broadband. Broadband was not pervasive at that point. There was no Wi-Fi at the parks or anything like that.
Oh my gosh.
And we were uploading these videos And we're talking like, we're not even talking. I think maybe it was 1080, high definition, but maybe I don't even know.
Back in 2000?
Probably not, right?
Oh, no. We're talking
Okay,
like
yeah.
360.
Okay, so and we're talking like a 3 or 4 minute video was taking like 8 hours to upload, and we were uploading. There was no YouTube, so we were uploading these to the Diz. We had a video player. Well, I forgot who the company was we went through, but there was a company that we went through, and I forgot what they charged us, but they hosted the video. And, we had a page on the site where all this video was. No, this was 20 years ago.
Yeah.
So I've got this great 20-year-old video that, I might as well just I have all the equipment to do it, to just break everything out and start capturing it and just do the same thing. Just, here's all the video we shot at this location on this day. But what's great is I don't know how much of Bob is in it, but Bob Varley did a lot of the video work. He loved it. Mm-hmm. He absolutely loved it. It was like his thing, which is why I say all the time, you would hate Bob Varley because he would not be leaving you alone. He'd be knocking on your door at 6 a.m. saying, come on, let's go out and film this and let's go out and shoot. He would drive you insane.
Yeah.
He would have loved this. So I think maybe I'll just do that. It's not that I'm without things to do right now, but that might be a fun project to do.
Exactly. No, it's...
And now that I've said it out loud, everybody's going to be like, where is it?
Hey, it would give me video to fall back on at the very least. So,
is that my job now? I'm here for you?
No, okay. Not necessarily. But I see like a lot of the video that I'm finding. It's decent stuff. Some of it's more interesting than others. That's why in some cases it didn't get posted. But a lot of times it's just, it's just stuff that I don't know. I'm give or take on all of it. But yeah, like one of the things I have a lot of footage of is like with Halloween Horror Nights, because the role that Universal put out until like I want to say 2 years ago was when we would go for media events, they would let us film. It started out as like they would say you can only film 2 houses, that's it, and nothing else. And then by like the 3rd house, they'd be like, okay, you can film all the houses you want, but you can only release highlights from 2 houses. So I realized for like the past however many years, until they finally gave up and said, yeah, just post it all. Like there's at least 5 years worth of those events where I'm like, I only posted videos from 2 houses. And the rest are just sitting on a hard drive somewhere, and it's always random stuff like that I'm finding that I know it's interesting to me, but I don't think it's interesting to a lot of people out there. So I just have to find a balance. But I don't have anything earlier than 2013 when I really got going shooting video here. So anything you have to help add to that, it's awesome.
The people they were giving us to interview were like, these were not big like interviews. The brand manager for Pleasure Island.
Ooh.
Guys, come on now, lay down. Welcome to my world. Welcome to my world. Go lay down. Go lay down, honey. They attack each other. They're playing, but then invariably somebody gets hurt. So they would give me like the brand manager for Pleasure Island, but they let us shoot everywhere. They let us shoot everywhere we wanted to. Mm-hmm. So it was really, it was kind of cool. It was a lot of fun. It was insane. By the end of it, we were dead.
Yeah.
It was so, we were so exhausted. And I had just had my gallbladder out 2 weeks before this started. So I was still recovering from gallbladder surgery when we did this, and it was a mess.
Yeah.
But it was a lot of fun. A lot of fun. Yeah, nobody had done anything like that before. Certainly no website. So You know, because it's 2000. Like I said, it was 2000. So it was a lot of fun.
Yeah, no, back in, I mean, of course I used the internet like any 13-year-old kid would back in 2000. I used it every single day for hours and hours, just hogging up the phone line. But I remember, like,
Well, you were looking up ginger porn.
I was not, no, but I would be on any Disney site, which there weren't very many of back then. I mean, obviously, the Diz was one of them, and then a handful of others, Deb and like Intercot. And it would be funny anytime there was videos hosted on all your sites. It was always the smallest tiny square that was like,
oh yeah, no, they were like postage stamps.
which it's so hilarious to think about now that like we could take the video that we shoot and throw it up on a 4K TV and it looks amazing. I mean, we could project it anywhere and it looks amazing. And back then it was like you were happy if you were watching a ride through of Splash Mountain on the smallest little postage stamp of a section on a website. Like we've come so far.
I wish I still had some of those videos, because I was putting video up on the site 2000, 2001, 2002. I don't know where any of that stuff is. I don't know where any of that stuff is. I mean, they, you know, like, I know there's a lot of directories and files on the server that haven't been looked at or touched. So maybe there's a treasure trove sitting in some random directory somewhere.
Probably.
So I know Jackie's in the room, and we're getting some questions in. Why is Abby/Dolly wearing a travel pillow? Abby is wearing a protective collar because she's developing hot spots. Common with Goldens, very common with her for the last 6 months. So the mobile vet is coming out to the house tomorrow to take a look. I have some stuff that I spray on it to keep it under control, but she just can't bite or, you know, get at it. So the collar, the regular cone of shame, I try not to use with her, because when her peripheral vision is blocked, she does not want to go anywhere. So she has no energy to do anything. That travel pillow, as you put it, prevents her from, you know, getting to it and like biting at it. But she also doesn't mind it, and she's able to go around and play and, you know, be a dog. So that's why I prefer to use that. How badly am I missing the Waves bacon and eggs? Oh, you have no idea. I am missing it so bad. Please address college program housing and what I think will happen going forward. I got to be honest, I know nothing about the housing for college program. So you're saying that some of the suites are up to 3 people per room. I mean, if we're talking about social distancing or that, I don't know. I really just don't know enough about it to speak on it. Once they do reopen the parks, resorts more fully, what do you expect will happen with buffet restaurants? Yeah, I don't know. I got to be honest. I have no idea. I like I said, I don't think it's gonna depend on where we are. You know, we're as to, like, you know, everybody's taking their guesses, right? We think June. Right. Why? Because they're selling these packages to people whose vacations got canceled to arrive starting June 1st. So it's a safe bet to say that's when Disney is thinking they're going to be able to reopen. But they are not going to be able to reopen fully. And are they going to be handing out masks at the turnstiles? Are they going to make those masks a requirement of being in the parks, that you can't be in the parks unless you're wearing a protective mask? That is not outside the realm of possibility at all.
I just think about all the comments of Disney ruined my picture in front of Cinderella Castle because I had to wear a mask. You ruined my Christmas card.
Yeah. I'm being asked which Magic Candle Company candle am I burning today, contemporary. Actually, I burned this down to almost the nub, so I've got to go get another one. Because I've been keeping. I'm not kidding. I literally have 2 cabinets in my kitchen full of Magic Candle Company candles, and I have been burning one virtually. Like, I'm finding that the larger size ones, like this one, don't know how many ounces it is, but it's the larger one. Um, these burn for about 2.5. I mean, I'm talking about all day. Obviously, I don't let them burn when I go to sleep. But from the time I get up to the time I go to bed, one's burning, and I get 2.5 days out of one of these, and they really hold their like this, like a contemporary really holds its fragrance. Doesn't matter how many times you burn it. But then what I like to do is when it gets down to like the very end, I like to crack up that wax and make a wax melt out of it and put it in a wax melt burner. Get a little more out of it. So thank you for mentioning Magic Candle Company to give me the opportunity to tell people magiccandlecompany.com is where you can buy those. Code Disney Info. Disney Info saves you 15% when you check out. Okay, and I'm going to address this now. I think they're going to open in June. That's when I think they're going to open. Everybody wants to know, oh, I'm going in August, and I'm going in October, and I'm going in, January of 2022. Do you think they'll be open? I can't. I love you. I love you people. I do, but oh my God. Now, saw something this morning. Somebody freaking out that they're going to lose this. They're not going to be able to go in September. Look, I don't know for a fact that that's not the case. I don't know that for a fact, but come on. Today, let's be in today. In through the nose, out through the mouth. Let's see. Actually, Craig, why don't you take one or two? I got to go get some soda.
Okay, I guess I can.
Is Jackie Jackie is sending these to you.
Yeah, she is, but I'm mostly ignoring them for the most part.
See?
What?
See, I love you. I love these people, and you hate them.
It's not that I hate them. I'm just concentrating on other stuff. So I let you pick the questions, but I'll figure something out while you're gone. I'll pull out my phone here. I'll look through.
Is the camera on you or me right now?
Oh, it's on me. Yeah. No.
Okay.
Yeah, it's on me. I'm buying you time right now. If you're still listening, way in the background. So, I guess I could mention Jackie's article since she plugged it. It's today. Jackie's article that she wrote is about Magic Candle Company, and my article I wrote hasn't been written yet because I haven't done it yet. So that's happening, but I will at some point. I'll share my videos with you, and you can see what fun stuff is happening. So hey, no, I've been here. I know this is riveting. Listen, I don't answer a lot of the questions that Pete enjoys answering about important stuff. I'm into fluff, and that's kind of what I stick with. So, yeah, that's just going to be me. What's my preference, acoustic or electric guitar? Let me boom that. Hey, Craig, what's your preference, acoustic or electric guitar? My preference is, I don't know. I would say probably I prefer playing my electrics because I prefer playing them because they don't get So my something about the humidity here in Florida. Obviously I'm not in a great enclosed room or anything, but the humidity really messes with my strings on my acoustic, and just it constantly. If I play for more than like maybe 10 minutes, I'll go out of tune completely. And with my electrics, I could pretty much go crazy for an hour and never have any issues. So because of that, I'd rather play my electric guitars. So where are we at now? Why do you hate us all, Craig? Because I hate everyone. I've said that many times. It's something I pride myself on. I don't like everyone equally. I hate everyone equally. So there we go. Okay. Favorite Star Wars character? Of course, Yoda. It had to only be Yoda. It will only ever be Yoda. Always Yoda. What do we have next? I'm assuming with this that little Tokyo is probably trolling me a little bit. What would Walt do about this if he was still alive? If you listen to Connecting with Walt, we don't answer those questions about what Walt would think or what Walt would do, because none of us actually know. So I'm assuming that's all it is. Just a little bit of trolling. Who knows, though? I might be wrong. What is the best Muppet movie if I have to choose just one? That's not even a question again. It would have to be Muppet Christmas Carol. It's one of the best movies ever made. So whether we're just talking about videos of A Christmas Carol or a Muppet movie in general. So that was simple. Simple. Okay. I think I hear Pete back. I'll answer one more. What's my favorite drink at Trader Sam's?
I couldn't decide I couldn't decide which magic candle I wanted to burn, so I brought out a bunch of them. I'm going to let the room decide which one gets lit. But go ahead and do your question.
My favorite drink from Trader Sam's is the Shipwreck on the Rocks. Not what I'm drinking today. I'm just drinking water out of this because it's 2:30 and it's like 90 degrees in my office currently.
And your point is what?
I have a lot of work to do today. I couldn't be getting started this early.
Oh, please. I used to start at 9 o'clock in the morning.
Oh, I'm sure that's when Rhino started today, but...
Do you think he does his hair when he's by himself?
See, that's...
It's like one of those questions. If a tree falls in the forest and no one's there to hear it, does it make a sound?
Yeah, that's a tough question, because technically the only times I have seen him are when we're recording stuff. So I know he's gotten ready because of that, but I'll send a message to Eli and see if we can get the actual scoop on that.
All right, so the 4 magic candles that I just grabbed out of it's just like they were the 4 that were sitting right in front of me. 2 of the large ones, 2 of the small ones. Doesn't matter because they all work pretty well. Banshee Flight from Flight of Passage. Caribbean Resort. One of my all-time favorites, Japan. This is a really nice spring one. And then Tiki Terrace. Which one should I burn? How fast can you get Florida residency? Florida residency is established at 4 months. And it doesn't matter where you could live in a hotel room for 4 months. And as long as you're getting mail there, you can establish Florida residency. But it's, at least as far as real estate is concerned, Florida residency is considered at 4 months.
And the bigger question, why would you want to establish Florida residency, Pete? Why would you?
What are you talking about? I love living here.
It was a sales pitch for you to sell Florida to people.
Oh, no. I don't sell Florida to people. There are real estate agents that I work with from movingtoorlando.com, our new website, that sell real estate to people. I do not sell real estate. But I do love telling people about moving to Florida. It was a cool experience. We're actually going to be doing a new Moving to Orlando show very soon. We're very excited. But movingtoorlando.com, we just launched that. I had extra time in my hands. I was able to literally build a website from scratch in about 2 weeks. So that's pretty cool. But yeah, and we just launched that the other day, like a few days ago. So I'm sorry, I didn't realize you were going to pitch me that. So
keep you on your toes.
All right. So what do we got here? Craig, have you watched Onward?
I have. Have you watched Onward?
I have not.
Yeah, I didn't make it in theaters, so I did watch it. I did not support Disney enough to buy it a couple weeks ago when it came out, so I waited till it's on Disney Plus and watched it, and I thought it was really enjoyable, actually. So it was, considering that I had, before it had come out at all, and before really we even knew a lot about the movie, just when we only knew the basic premise, I had heard some stuff about it that from a friend that was kind of keeping me a little bit not excited for it, but kind of keeping my idea of it being good a little bit more tempered. And then as I started to see more, like at D23 Expo this past year, it's like, okay, I can get my expectations up a little bit more, and I'll say that it lived up to my expectations, and I will probably watch it again. Not anywhere super soon, but I'll watch it again in the future for sure. But not my favorite Pixar movie, but good stuff.
Yeah, I have to watch it. I haven't had a chance yet. Let's see. Do you think Disney will furlough the union cast members? There's a reason that they did non-union first. That's easy. Okay, non-union. There's some negotiation with the union that has to go on for that, because there's a contract there. Now, what the specifics of that contract are, I don't know. I don't know the legalities of it either, so it's entirely possible that Disney is within their rights to furlough everybody, union or otherwise, and they're just not. But I know that I did hear when the announcement came through that they were furloughing a number of salaried and hourly non-union cast members, that they were getting ready to open discussions with the union. So I think right now everybody's safe through the 18th. I don't know what's going to happen after the 18th. I really don't. Let's see now. Craig, do you agree that the new Spaceship Earth narrator should be Gilbert Gottfried?
I can say that I do not agree with that, but I do respect Gilbert Gottfried in terms of like his quest to help preserve the past with like the podcast that he does. It focuses on definitely interviewing a lot of people from film history, but besides that, I'm not going to get into my thoughts on Gilbert Gottfried as a whole, not a hold. That makes no sense.
Yeah, Todd Probus brings up a very good question. Wanting to know how you and Rhino will still be able to Lady in the Tramp a hot dog if you have to wear masks and with like social distancing guidelines.
If there's a will, there's a way. But okay. We also haven't Lady in the Tramped anything in so long. I don't remember the last time it actually happened. So it's not because of sanitary reasons. I think we just ran out of stuff to share like that.
Okay, and then like in all capital letters, "Hi Pete, I'm still wondering what your favorite Disney bathroom on property is." I guess you must have asked this question before, and I didn't answer it then for the same reason I'm not going to answer it now. I don't have a favorite bathroom. Okay? So there, you got your answer. When the parks open, aside from Disney Universal rules, when we allow employees to safely enter on a consistent basis, that's really just going to depend. on what the circumstances are. Here's the bottom line. If I won't go, they don't go. At least not for work. I can't stop them for what they do in their personal time. But, if I wouldn't put myself in the park, I'm not going to let them go. I guess that's the easiest answer I can give. Mm-hmm. But I also believe that Disney has shown Disney World and Disney Cruise Line and Disneyland, be specific here, have shown that they are responsible. They are making decisions in the public good, not for profits, and they are doing the right things by their guests. I say that because I don't feel that all Disney business units are doing that, namely DVC. You want to know what I think about that? DVCfan.com just had its busiest day ever. It was yesterday or Saturday. I want to talk about a rant? I went off on a rant on DVC. So DVCfan.com, you can check that out. But so I have a lot of faith that when Disney reopens the parks, it will be when they feel it is safe and it'll be done in a responsible manner. So I'm very, very comfortable with that right now. We'll see, how it goes. But they did, they've done the right thing. We're gonna call them out when they screw up. We got to call them out when they don't, and they didn't. They are taking a brutal bath right now financially, and you don't see them trying to save money by screwing over their guests. And they're actually bending over backwards to do whatever the guest wants. You want your money back in full? We'll give it to you, no questions asked. You want 125% credit on your next cruise? We'll do that. We'll give you a free dining offer to come in the summer, which did really well, by the way. So that just earns a lot of respect from me. That we can plenty of opportunities for us to criticize them for money grabs, but I think I'll be less critical of that on the other side of this, at least for a while, because they're going to have to find a way to recoup some of the losses. I think that's understandable. Now, how they do it and how much they do of it and how crazy it gets, that's another story. But, I think we all have to be reasonable about that. Let's see. Okay, yeah. Somebody's saying, can you address the people that are canceling their trips to Disney later in the year due to job losses are not irrational? They are not. That is absolutely. And I've never said that. I've said that if people are canceling because for financial reasons, for reasons other than corona, like I'm afraid I'm going to get coronavirus, and their trip is in December, that's irrational. That's a rational fear. It's certainly not. If you've lost your job or you think you might lose your job, or as a result of being quarantined, that you've lost money, or those are all perfectly rational decisions to make. I'm not talking about those people. I'm talking about people that are saying that because we're afraid of coronavirus today, that I'm going to cancel my trip in January of next year because I'm afraid of coronavirus. That's irrational to me. So yeah, when it's a financial thing, absolutely, completely understand. We're all having to do that, right? I'm having to do that. So that I completely get. But and you know what I'm talking about. You know the difference in what I'm talking about. That this crazy, irrational fear that like for the rest of our lives, we are going to have to stay inside and never go on vacation again because of coronavirus. The hysteria, I mean, it's to be taken seriously, no question about it. But can we all just get on board with the fact that we may not have to be concerned about it in December. We don't know. So let's wait. Let's wait. If it's not a financial issue, let's just hold off before we start canceling our vacations out of panic. Now, like again, financial issue, whole different story. But that's not what I'm talking about, and I think you know that. How long did it take me to adjust to the heat and humidity when you moved to Florida? Well, let's see. I moved here in '98, and I still haven't adjusted yet. So, 22 years. Actually, the older I get, the less I can take of the heat and humidity. So that's why if you ever notice when I'm traveling the most, it's usually between the months of like April and May and October is when I'm on the road the most. And I'm usually going to places that are not hot. So I'm out in California. I'll be over in Europe. I'll be in Alaska. I'll do, the trips like that. If we have a dining plan package booked in September from the normal promotion, not as a result of COVID-19, can we change our dates and keep the promotion? I doubt it. If you're talking about outside the promotion window, I doubt it. But, it's a really, really good question. And if I'm going to do product placement this entire time, one of my agents at Dreams Unlimited Travel would be more than happy to help you with that. Let's see. Jay Zembruski, Pete, like the article on moving to Orlando, great tips. Oh, the 4 things Disney fans need to know before moving to Orlando, I think is what you're talking about. I had fun writing that. I was in a very punchy mood when I wrote that article, and I think you can kind of tell from how it's written. I wish I could write like that all the time. I had a lot of fun with that. But thank you for that. I appreciate it. Do you think Disney will furlough Bob Chapek? From your lips to God's ears. Will they extend Flower and Garden Festival? Not into the summer. They can't. I don't think they can.
No, we've talked about it before. It's not just, in technicality, yeah, they could just leave the booths up all year round if they really wanted to, but you know what, they could if it really came down to it. But then with the topiaries and stuff too, you have to start worrying about when you get into the hottest points of the year about how fast they're dying. And since the topiaries are reused so much, you can't let them overstay their welcome. Otherwise, you end up having issues. Not that it resulted because they were out too long, but like the 1 year Flower and Garden started, and I think they were missing like 5 or 6 topiaries because they were completely burnt out. So that's when it's such a huge selling point of the event. You want everything to be able to be in place so that way next year starts off looking good.
Yeah, I think we're dealing with a lost Flower and Garden season. This year we might just want to embrace that. Pete, how are you getting your Disney fix in with the parks closed besides burning the candle? See what I do for a living. This is kind of how I get my fix. And doing stuff on the site, writing articles, doing shows, kind of keeps me in touch with it. And if you look behind me, not for nothing, the whole office is Haunted Mansion and Nightmare Before Christmas. So, I kind of surround myself with it. But I stopped getting my fix from the parks a long time ago. It is one of the benefits of living here is that it changes how you experience Disney. For some people, obviously you're going to go more when you're living here than you do when you're not, like when you're here on vacation. Mm-hmm. But whereas like vacation, it's this very focused experience, right? That you're planning out where you're going to eat 6 months in advance. And, if you were like me, you have spreadsheets of every single day. and what time and what attraction and how long it's going to take. And so that you have literally planned out every minute of your day for the entire length of your vacation. That changes. That you don't do that the same way when you live here. There is a coolness, as I mentioned in that one article on moving to Orlando, the coolness of being able to say, oh, you know what, I think I want to go to Epcot for dinner tonight. That cannot be overstated. It's one thing, 22 years in, that is one thing that still, when I pull into Epcot at 4 in the afternoon, because I'm going to walk in and I'm going to have dinner and hang out for a little while and then go back home, I pinch myself. I'm like, I can't believe I get to do that. That is the coolest thing. That I miss doing. That I really miss doing. What do you think they're going to do about Mediterranean cruises? You want my honest answer? I don't think they're going to happen. I don't think Alaska's going to happen. I don't think Mediterranean's going to happen. I really don't. It's so bad. I mean, it's worse here now than it is in Italy. And maybe since that region is like about a month ahead of us in terms of this, it might be back enough by then. And I could be wrong. I hope I am. But I don't know. I think they're going to have trouble getting people on the ships. Even if they do decide to do them. I don't know that they're going to get people on the ships.
Yeah.
So, all right, Craig, they want to know how we first met. What was our first date, Craig?
What was our first date? I mean, I remember.
I'm heartbroken, Craig.
No, I remember. So I saw the question too. It's one that I saw it come up. I figured we were going to answer it eventually. We've talked about it on other shows before, but we haven't done it in a long time where we do like a get to know the team. But for me, it all started, I was still working at Universal way back when, 2012, and Pete had put out a posting on Facebook that he was looking for a person to help with video. And I was not friends with Pete on Facebook, but my sister was, because she was at that point in time, she was still living in Ohio. So she was still actively listening to the podcast and using the boards all the time, whether it's doing trip reports or just answering questions and such. So she saw the post immediately and sent it to me. And I think I maybe stewed on it for like 2 days, where it's like, maybe I'll try, because I had, at that point in time, I had applied for like 4 or 5 other jobs outside of Universal that led nowhere. So I was kind of at that phase where I'm like, I don't want to get burnt over and over and over again. So for me, then I ended up doing it, and I want to say it probably had 2 or 3 emails with Pete back and forth. I could probably still go back in my Gmail and find it.
I don't think he answered the first one.
Probably not. No.
And that's when I got the taste of, Craig's, I think it went to spam. He still does to this day. But,
and it does. And it happens to me all the time. And the problem is I yell at people I yell at our other coworkers when something goes to spam. I'm like, well, you got to check your spam all the time. And then I don't turn around and do it myself. So I'm that kind of hypocrite. But yeah, we did end up connecting, and I had my first get to know Pete interview at Wolfgang Puck Express.
Mm-hmm.
And then that led to another one where we had dinner at then Wolfgang Puck, not Express, but the actual Wolfgang Puck restaurant that's no longer there, obviously, and because that's where Haleo is now. And from there, my first assignment was an overview video of Halloween Horror Nights back in 2012, and then that it pretty much went rolling from there too. And I had
Well, we hadn't brought the show to video yet. We were
no,
working on it. Dustin and I were working on that. And Dustin was the one who said, as we were figuring out what the actual shows were going to look like, we're going to need help. If we're going to be doing, a lot of, video in the park that we're going to play during the show and stuff like that, we're going to need, because it was only Dustin at that point.
mm-hmm.
And so that's when we put the call out. And I remember that first lunch, because, now I know you, but, that flat affect that Craig has, that's, I'm sitting there, I'm talking to this guy, and I'm like, do you have a soul? Because he's just so flat. And I'm like, I don't know. And Dustin was like, I think he's absolutely the right guy. I'm like, I don't know. Let's try him out, And that's when, he freelanced for a few months. And then right before we went to the live shows, the live video, right? Isn't that when you came on board?
Yeah. It was
January 2013.
Exactly. So but even then I didn't understand that I was getting moved on. It just you had told me okay, at some point I'm going to tell you that I need you to leave Universal and come here full time. And then that was 2 weeks before we launched with the first episode. And I remember I was at work and it had to be 9:00 in the morning. You were like, okay, well, can you come and do this test with us for the video show? And I was like, yeah, sure. And I didn't realize that was partially your way of saying okay, it's getting time. And so I was I had to get an ER from work. And at that point it was I think they finally let me go at 2:00, and we were supposed to start recording at 1:00. And I remember that you were okay, I need you here on time next week when we do this. It didn't dawn on me that it was all happening, and that's how we were getting ready to take it live, because then it really was the very next week was the first live show. And nothing was resonating with me about what was happening. So definitely not a good look. But when I was in the month of December, or I guess it would have been November into December, I don't want to say I got motivated. I was motivated from the start. My first videos I was shooting was after the Halloween Horror Nights. I did a multicam edit of Country Bear Jamboree, Little Mermaid. I was just filling in the list of all the attractions we needed shot. And then once the holiday started, I was like, I'm going to go around and get every single one of the holiday storytellers around Epcot and put those together. So I literally submitted, I think, 15 videos in this short amount of time. And just because it was a lot of fun, and I was doing that. But that at that point in time too, that was not to bring up any sad parts of it. That was right when Max passed away. And so I remember I had to come to your house to pick up something. And I was like, is Pete mad at me that he's not talking to me because I'm just trying to work hard? And then later I think it was a month later, that's when I finally found out about Max, and I was like, oh gosh, I wish I would have known. But
yeah, because Max, I had to have Max put down, I think it was the 20th of December that year. And I was inconsolable for weeks.
Yeah.
That was the hardest thing I ever did in my life. I was inconsolable for weeks. So yeah, that's the story of how Craig and I met and fell in love.
Yeah. And there's more crazy stories.
Oh God, yeah. And we could go on. We could do several shows. We could do several shows. 2013 was a crazy year.
Mm-hmm.
2013 was a crazy year. Let's see. What effects do you think this will have on events like Run Disney? 2 races have been canceled because of the virus. Do you think there will be new safety precautions for future races? I think we all need to start now. And I say this as much for myself as I do for you guys. I think we need to get into our heads that the way we've experienced Disney and virtually everything else in our life prior to this is going to change. I think that for about 18 months after the parks reopen, you are going to see a lot of precautions being taken until they come out with a vaccine. You know, and I don't want to make an offensive analogy here. I really don't. But, you know, I remember in the early days of the HIV epidemic, we didn't know if we could get it from drinking out of a glass. We didn't know if we could get it through casual contact. We didn't know. There was all sorts of things going on, just like now. And I don't want to, you know, I'm not trying to make an offensive comparison here. I lost many friends to AIDS, so I'm certainly not taking that lightly. But at the time, and I'm talking about the early 80s, we just didn't know, right? And it was kind of like it is now, where there's like, oh, you can't get it through, you know, you can't get it from this, but now all of a sudden you can, or you know, you don't need to wear a mask. Oh well, actually now you do. As they learned more, they changed they changed their guidance, and we had to learn to live a different way. You know, we had to learn to live a different way, and I think that's what we're going to see, at least for the immediate future after coronavirus, after things begin to go back to normal. I think you'll see a slow buildup of them opening the parks, cruise line, things like that. I think they are going to scale back on major events. I don't think we're going to see Christmas and Halloween parties at the capacities we've seen them before. And I think that's going to be a mixed bag. I think the people that are able to get into those parties are going to love it because it's not going to be as packed. Because like some people are asking, oh, do you think they're going to, you know, pull the blockout dates so that they can make more money? I think it's just the opposite. I think they're going to add blockout dates to keep as many people out of the park in the initial phase of reopening as possible, so that they're only doing what is responsible. The last thing Disney wants is a story of a major outbreak. Can you imagine, guys, can you imagine? Go lay down, sweetheart. Go lay down. Can you imagine coronavirus outbreak, 1,000 people sick from Disney's Halloween party? Can you imagine what kind of nightmare PR that would be? So for public safety and for self-preservation, I think for about a year and a half. And then, you know, people are asking, you know, how that's going to impact what goes on for the 50th anniversary next year. Hopefully by then we'll be just on the other side of those precautions, that will be in a place. Not that we'll be, you know, just go back to being, you know, doing whatever, but that there will be treatments in place, or maybe even a vaccine in place that will make the consideration lesser. But I think we need to start getting it in our heads, because I think right now there's a groupthink that coronavirus is going to go away, and they're going to open the parks, and everything goes back to normal. And I think we all need to wrap our heads around that's not the case, and to do ourselves a favor now and realize we're going to have to pivot and adjust how we do things for a while. I don't think the parks are going to be closed for a year. I think cruise lines are going to be closed for a year. I think, like I said, I think they're going to start reopening things in June. And there's going to be, based on the reality, based on what's going on, based on the advice of the best and smartest minds who are studying it, they're going to adjust how they do this.
Yeah.
So that's at least what I'm thinking.
And I mean, they have to, because Disney is just struggling. So, I mean, they're just struggling so much right now, and it really, really stinks that that's the case for it. But that's what their business is. I mean, with consumer products and parks and experiences and all that, like, it's basically at a shutdown. The only thing they have in that designation coming in is money from any products that are being sold. But it's how much longer until people really, really curb their spending, because they're afraid of losing a job and not having the money to spend on novelty items or anything. So it's just, there's no good signs. And yeah, I know that, like, one question that keeps coming up is people asking what's going to happen with Universal and all this too, because you would think theme park to theme park that it's an easy correlation, except the one difference that Universal has on their side is, yeah, their movie business is taking a hit, and the theme parks are obviously taking a hit, but they still have Comcast and cable, and as more people are isolating, I'm assuming that they're going to start seeing more people buying internet, upgrading their internet, maybe signing back up with cable, going into this realm. So at least Comcast, NBC, Universal still has something coming in for it, where Disney, they're hit hard with all of this too. So it's not even fair to make a direct comparison with those two anymore. But it's just wild.
That's an interesting angle I hadn't thought of, but you're absolutely right. It actually gives Universal, at least in the short term, a competitive advantage, because they are not going to be as financially impacted by the theme park closures as Disney is. You got to remember, theme parks make up 40% of Disney's revenue.
And that's not Comcast.
So it really is. I hadn't thought about that, but yeah, that's a good point. All right, we'll take one more. What is my favorite restaurant in the Orlando area? Well, if you head over to movingtoorlando.com, I wrote up all about my favorite restaurant in Orlando. It's unassuming steakhouse on Colonial Drive outside of downtown Orlando called Linda's La Cantina. I've mentioned it on the show before. Phenomenal steak. Place is stuck in the 70s with its decor, but I got to tell you, and the service ranges from good to, but the food is absolutely superb. I mean, the steak is so good. So I did a write-up on that on Moving to Orlando. So, but what about you, Craig? What's your favorite restaurant in Orlando?
There's this close to my house. There's a little Scottish burger place that it's pretty good. It's called McDonald's. So pretty excited for that.
Oh, come on! You must have a favorite restaurant, Craig.
It's a tough one because we've answered this so many times. So I'm trying to think of something different that I haven't mentioned before.
Look, if you have a favorite, the answer should be pretty much consistent, right?
Yeah, it is. But I've said we've done this so many times now that I've said my favorite restaurant. So I'm trying to pick different ones that I didn't say before, so that way I can give you more than just the one over and over again. So the next one I'll say is in Ocoee. There is a little burger place called That One Spot. That it's very unassuming from the outside because it just looks like a strip mall restaurant, and you don't really know what is going on there when you just look at a sign that says That One Spot. but the burgers that they make are extremely delicious. There is a salmon burger that they do that I am just dying for, that has all the goat cheese on top and roasted red peppers, and it's incredible. And so yeah, I love that one spot in Ocoee. If you ever find yourself randomly outside of any normal path that you would take going to Walt Disney World.
Well, okay, I'll give one more that I absolutely love. The Ravenous Pig up in Winter Park is the restaurant owned and operated by the same couple. Also have the Polite Pig, quick service restaurant at Disney Springs. And the food is crazy good. It's a really great place to go if you want to check out Winter Park. There are also some fantastic restaurants on Restaurant Row and Dr. Phillips. That's really where some of the best eateries in Orlando are. But I think because of how much Disney has upped their game with signature restaurants, it has really challenged the surrounding areas to up their game as well. Mm-hmm. And I think we really have some incredible places, some incredible restaurants in Central Florida.
Not only that, it's, even the restaurants that we have that are incredible that we've talked about on this and other places before. Like Rhino will always take a chance to talk about some of his favorite restaurants anytime he can mention it, like Domu and such, King Bao. But like, I feel it's had even another ripple effect beyond it, that not only are the restaurants in Disney causing everyone to be so good, that we've also like made all the food trucks that we have in the area need to even step up their game to the next level too. And so we have, not that any city doesn't have great food trucks, but like, I know one of my favorite meals that I could get, and I do it about like one Saturday a month. We have a food truck called Over Rice that does Hawaiian Filipino food that is just out of this world, and it reminds me of the food that we ate in Hawaii that I've had such an attachment to for so long. But like, I love that. One of my there's just a whole bunch. So it really is like, even down to the food truck level, Orlando has had to match the game of everything else around. So it's really hard to find a bad meal in Florida. I mean, you can, but you would have to really, really pick just a rotten place to walk into and be like, let me try this out, in order to have something truly terrible.
All right. Well, there you have it, folks. That's going to do it for today. I think I got to get back to work. But hope you enjoyed this, our little impromptu chat with Craig and I. But hope you guys are staying safe, staying inside. Unless, of course, you're first responders, then we're just, and doctors and nurses, folks on the front line of this, we're praying for you every single day, and hoping you stay safe, because you have the worst jobs in the world right now. And thank God for you, because without you, we'd all be screwed. And I'm not going to say what I was going to say, because I'm going to get political and I'm going to get in trouble, so I won't. I don't think you're stealing masks. So that's it, folks. Tomorrow, 1 o'clock, we'll be live with our Tuesday show. So hope to see you guys then. Thanks.